Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor. I'm so glad you're here. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. So as I said at the start of the year that I'm going to be including some more like lifestyle-y everyday bits. So every month I'm going to be doing a little roundup of all the books that I've read. In my 2020 goals video, I said that I wanted to read 100 books. Well, in the month of January, I made a dent in that. +2. I had to return to the library because they were gonna be overdue. But I read 8 books in the month of January and did little else. So I started an account on this app called Goodreads. So let's see if it loads. So it's this app and it's pretty amazing. You can join a reading challenge. So I'm on my challenge and I'm on track for my 100 books thus far. I've just started another book the other day. So you can add me on here. I'm pretty sure if you just search Taylor Fuller, you can add me and you can follow along in real time about the books that I've read. So without further ado, let's get started on this magical book journey. So the first book I read was this book called Nothing. And the only reason I read it is because it was in my house and I had nothing to read. Nothing. It's by Jan Teller. Janne Teller, and it's very interesting. It's a short book. It's only like 156 pages, so I read it in one night because I am a speed reader. I read incredibly fast. Everyone is always like, I just don't understand how you get through books in like 2 days, and I read fast. I don't skim. I read everything. I just love reading, and it's easy for me to get through a book quickly. So I really like this for a quick read. I thought it was a little bit strange. It definitely took me the first like 50 pages to fully understand what the whole point of the book was, but it's an interesting concept. So I wouldn't like, this wouldn't be my favorite. It'd probably be my least favorite out of all the books that I've read this month, but I mean, you might as well give it a shot if you're looking for a quick read. And yeah, it's looks like this. So next up on my list was Anthony Bourdain's Kitchen Confidential, and I read this because my boyfriend works in hospitality, so he had this lying around again, and it was like, it was a really good book, but it was published over 20 years ago, so I imagine that some of the stuff in here is no longer true. I hope that some of the stuff in here is no longer true. But if you have a weak stomach, I would not read this. I think if you have a weak stomach, you'll be horrified about some of the things that they say about kitchens and all of that. But if not, and you love Anthony Bourdain like I do, you should definitely give this a read. It's funny. It's very like crass and straightforward. Just like Anthony Bourdain is such like he was such a straightforward, like tell it how it is kind of guy, and this definitely shows that. And this book came out before he started doing all this travel food stuff, so I would definitely give this a read. Next up, I don't have the book because I had to return it to the library, so I definitely would recommend being a member of your local library. And it's great because all you need is to show like your lease, your tenancy agreement, and then you can take books out from the library, or you can take them out on like your Kindle or Nook or iPad or whatever you read. They have an online library, and I'm pretty sure they get newer books on there faster. So yeah. So anyway, so I read 9 Perfect Strangers by Liane Moriarty. I read most of her books. She's an interesting writer. Her books are very, I don't know how to, there's like a lot of twists in her books, and this is no different. I won't lie, it was really hard to get into, but my mom had read it and she was like, just push through. So that's what I'm gonna say to you, is push through. It's weird. It is so weird, but it's so worth it at the end. The end is great, so definitely push through to the end. And then after that, I read Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple, and I'd been trying to read this book since it was published a few years ago, just never was available at my library. It came out before I moved to the UK, and I really wanted to read it, and then it was made into a movie, which came out last summer, and Cate Blanchett plays Bernadette, and the movie was like in the movie theater for maybe like 3 weeks. I don't know why, but I like that book. It was written in a really interesting style, so this is without like giving anything away. It's written by the point of view of the daughter, and the whole interesting part of it is that it's like correspondence emails between different people and then little narration by the daughter. So I enjoyed it. I think that I had been waiting so long to read it that it wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be, but it was still good. And then next up, I read The Home Edit, and then you can go back to my video from last week and you'll see that I applied as much from this book as I possibly could into my own home. This is like a dream. Like, look at how organized this is. Oh, it's just so lovely. Like, it's just so satisfying. So I read this. I have been in an organizational hole since the new year began, and now that it's February, I feel great because I think I did such a great job of organizing everything. If I had a bigger home, I could implement this so much better, but I did it really well. You can see in that video from last week. And this is a quick read. I read it in a day. It is quite, there's like 250 pages, but there's a lot of pictures. So I would definitely pick this up if you're interested in organization or you love a pretty like coffee table book, because this is great read, really helpful tips. Yeah. So next up, I read Open Up: The Power of Talking About Money by Alex Holder. So I really enjoyed this book because it was really relatable. I'm pretty sure the author is in her 30s, and it just like was a great way to think about talking about money. I've never been afraid to talk about money. The business I'm in, like, you have to talk about money. So for me, like, it's never been a huge issue, but I know that it is very uncomfortable for certain people. But I really enjoyed this read because it went into like little situations for different people. So one that I really enjoyed was the freelance section and how to budget like under freelancer. There was a section about debt. There was a section about like splitting bills with your friends and like having a social life while budgeting. So it's really relatable. It's an easy read because it's funny too. There's a lot of like anecdotal stories from both the author's point of view and from people that she interviewed. So I would definitely read this if you want to read like a nonfiction book. So that was part of, I think, for this year's, I'm trying to read books of like all kinds, hence like the Home Edit, this, Anthony Bourdain. Like, it's just, I don't want to only read fiction. So yeah, definitely try to read this. It's great. Next up, I read The Clock Dance by Anne Tyler, and she's like a really famous author apparently. I've never read any of her other books. I'm definitely going to pick up another one of her books. I really enjoyed this book because of the way that it's broken up. There's two parts, and the first part focuses on like defining moments in the main character's life, while the second part takes place like in present day. And I really enjoyed reading from that because you kind of get an idea, like a better sense of the character, and in the way that she wrote it, it's just like more evolved, and it was very interesting to read, and I really enjoyed this. I got through this one really quickly. It also helps that the second part took place in Baltimore, so I knew all the places they were talking about, which was really nice. So yeah, that is Clock Dance. And then I read After the Flood by Cassandra Montag, and I enjoyed this one too. This takes place in the future, and it's pretty much after the whole world has flooded. That's without like giving anything away. And it focuses on a mother and daughter and their quest to find someone, which I'm not going to tell you who, but it is a really great book. There's a lot of twists in it. I really enjoyed this one. It wasn't hard to get into. I think I read like 100 pages in my first sitting. It was a quick read for me. I really enjoyed it, and it's a really cool story. There's a lot of detail. It's fun to read, so definitely add this to your list as well. So again, these are 6 out of the 8 books that I read, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I am really hoping to bring some different kinds of content to this channel, as I said earlier, and I really hope that this is a good little series that you'll enjoy. So that's it for now. I hope that you enjoyed what you watched. As always, please give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and I will see you again next week for some more fun content. So yeah, have a nice day. Bye.